All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And in today's video, Happy New Year. Let's knock that out of the way, right? Happy New Year. It is 2024, new year, new beginnings, new me. But yeah, we're going to do what we do on this channel. We're going to talk about balance changes. And this time we're going to talk about the balance of power update that Amazon Gaming Studios came out with last week. Now, I want to provide a caveat. I really like this series that they do, where every couple of weeks they have developers come on and they talk about where the game is currently at, the state of the game from a PvE and PvP perspective, and they talk about changes that they want to make. It gives the players a chance to be informed that, hey, yeah, things are a little out of whack right now, but changes are coming. It gives players a chance to interact with the development team and they can provide their feedback, and that's what this video is. I liked the vast majority of the changes that they're making. I didn't like one. And the one that I didn't like is increasing the dodge cost from heavy armor from 50 stamina to 55. Now, I'm not saying this as a heavy armor player, which you can clearly see in the background. I'm running heavy armor. I'm saying that this specific change isn't going to accomplish the goal that they're trying to accomplish. And I think there are better options and there are better choices to make in order to make an adjustment. And I wanted to outline those in this video with my perspective. So that's what this video is. It's not a, hey, I'm heavy armor, keep my heavy armor where it's at. It's a, hey, this isn't going to do anything, and there are better ways to go about doing this, in my opinion. Let's talk about it. So, the 55 stamina cost increase, what does that mean? Well, what that means is instead of having 3 dodges with Hardy, you have 2. And so you get 1 less dodge before you get Graybarred, which, you know, when you're Graybarred, bad things happen. Bad things happen. You're more prone to getting bursted. And so it seems like a change that could be good overall. If you're looking to adjust heavy armor to bring it more in line with medium and light, this is an adjustment that you could make. But if you look at heavy armor as a whole and you look at the overall builds that heavy armor players are running, and you compare them, I think we could agree that the vast majority of heavy armor users are either sword and flail or sword and shield builds. Now, do sword and shield and sword and flail builds get a ton of survival off of dodging a bunch of incoming attacks, or do they get a bunch of survival off of blocking incoming attacks? It's the latter. They're running a tower shield for a reason. They're running a shield to mitigate incoming damage for a reason. And so those dodges, a 1 less dodge isn't going to severely impact their build at all. I talked, one of my good friends, Nice Gaming, is a heavy armor enjoyer, and he has been for a while. I asked him what he thought of this change and if it was going to severely impact his build, and he point blank said, like, no, this doesn't change much of anything at all for me. Why would it? Like, I'm not dodging much, I'm blocking. And so those types of builds aren't going to be impacted at all. What builds could be impacted by this? Well, you see in the background, I'm running Spear and Rapier. 2 weapons designed to not block very well. Blocking on this build gets me Graybarred way more quickly than dodging. And so I'm also running Shirking Heals. I'm running Shirking Heals for survival to get more healing off. I'm also running Shirking Fortification. I'm also running Shirking Frost. And so I have all these things designed off of dodge. And so 1 less dodge for my specific build, it would make a lot of sense that it would be impactful for me, right? It's not. If you look at the footage in the background, this is actually a test for me about 2 to 3 weeks ago where I took Hardy off my ring because I was checking to see if I could run my specific build off of Hardy. So although my stamina dodge cost isn't 55, it is 50. I have 2 dodges with this specific build, and you can watch the footage in the background. It is not impacting me negatively in the slightest. The strength that comes from heavy armor is a few things. The base amount of resistances that you get, and the stacking of sets or artifacts like Void Darkplate, and the stacking of perks like I'm running, like Fortifying Perforate. So my armor is somewhere around 2,900 with Void Darkplate. My physical resist jumps up to about 3,100. When I hit Fortifying Perforate, I jump to 6,000 physical resist with this build. And so what that means is 50% uptime. If I hit all 3 of my perforates, I have 6,000 resists. I have a shit ton of mitigation with this specific build to where I don't have to dodge a ton. And so because I don't have to dodge a ton, I'm already only getting a Shirking Heals proc every 7 seconds. That isn't enough to cut it. There's not a ton of self-healing in this game, and so I have to build mitigation. Building mitigation is a better form of survival currently in this game than running other things because the self-healing options just aren't very good. And so my overall point is, even a build that is designed to be impacted by this specific change isn't going to be impacted a whole lot. I'm also missing energizing runestones that I can put on my armor, which would give me a little bit more stamina recovery. I don't have the gold yet, but after this, if this change goes through, I will put those in, and my stamina sustain will be even better than what you're currently seeing. And so I don't think this adjustment is going to be very big. If I were to make a prediction and were to glean into my crystal ball and look and see what's going to happen for heavy armor, I would say that people see a nerf, and there's some people are going to go, oh, it's nerfed, therefore nerf means bad, heavy armor bad, and they're going to run to medium and light, and then they're going to go back to heavy, and they're going to realize that the heavy armor change doesn't do anything for them. And then Amazon Gaming Studios in return is going to see that people are still running heavy, and they're going to make another adjustment. And the problem with this is when you start making adjustments, one of which isn't very good, but then you make another adjustment that is, you lower the overall enjoyment of an armor weight, and it makes it not fun to play. We already have a not fun to play armor weight, and that's medium armor. And I don't know about you guys, but I play games to have fun. And my next point that I want to provide is I would much rather see an adjustment to medium and light armor than a big adjustment to heavy armor to balance things out. And so that's what we're going to talk about next. But let's look at another game. Let's talk about Mario Kart, right? We've all played Mario Kart. We all know what I'm talking about. You have your light racers, you have your Yoshi, you have your Toad, which is my personal favorite, and you have like your Princess Peach, and yeah, you're very, very fast, but you can be knocked out. And you can be knocked out really easily by medium and heavy armor brawlers. And so that's the choice that you make by being a light racer. You have your more well-rounded racers. You have your Mario and Luigi that are kind of in the middle of the ground for speed and survival and those sorts of things, which are very fun to play. But yeah, it's a choice to be well-rounded. And then you have your Bowsers that are just brawly boys that are just not very fast, but they accomplish their role as well. And so Mario Kart has these choices that you can make as far as racers are concerned. In my opinion, New World doesn't have these choices. And I think New World's choices are not very good. I ran medium during season 3 for about the first month. You guys go back and look at my channel. I was running the tumbler feet wraps on a medium armor spear rapier build, and it was good. I was having a lot of success with it. I was having a lot of fun with it. And then the expedition came out for Void Darkplate. I farmed it. I got it upgraded. I did all the quests and everything. And then I was deciding to put my tumbler feet wraps in the kiln and get them finally upgraded and finalized. And I was like, you know what? Before I do this, I should make sure that I want to commit to medium armor. I'm going to put on Void Darkplate. I have all the other heavy armor pieces I want to run. Let's test it. And so I ran a heavy armor build. I went in arenas, I went in OPR, and I had been running medium for a month, so I already had a good baseline for what medium was. And then I threw heavy on. And after an hour, I decided I wasn't going to upgrade my tumbler feet wraps. I was going to upgrade Void Darkplate. Now, why is that? Well, my damage didn't change. I did a lot of arenas in that hour, and my overall damage was... I didn't notice an overall loss in my damage, because in some fights where I would have to dodge and try to bounce around to survive, I had so much more mitigation. I could stay offensive the entire time in the fight. So when you look at the overall armor weights for New World, heavy armor is fulfilling its role as being a Bowser. You have high mitigation, you could do damage, you can dish out enough damage to kill people, you're not hitting with a wet noodle. Overall, its form of survival is fulfilling its role. Medium armor, your Marios and your Luigis, it's not fulfilling its role. It is not fun to play. You're not getting more damage running medium armor. It's roughly the same. You're not getting more benefits from running medium armor. You don't get an extra dodge. You're not more mobile than heavy armor. And so those sorts of things, it makes it a lot less fun to play. And so medium armor is just in a bad spot. Micro did a video either last week or the week before talking about how that 10% bonus going from heavy to medium armor is actually more like 6%. And so if you look at it as like 6.5% bonus, that's not enough of a damage difference to get people off of heavy and into medium or even into light. Now, Amazon did come out and say that they are making adjustments to light armor melee, which I think is great. I think light armor Range builds are in a pretty decent spot. Melee obviously needs help because the survival in light armor is not very good. And the damage that you're getting in light armor is not good enough to make you really want to play that playstyle, because you're not glass cannon-y enough. You're not enough of a glass cannon to want to risk standing in front of 2 to 3 to 4 people's faces and trying to survive. And so those are the choices that you have as a player right now, as a melee brawler, and the choices are you can run 2 bad armor weights or you can run the only good one. And so in my perspective, I do agree that you could reduce the overall mitigation in heavy armor. You could look at reducing the fortify cap a little bit. I don't know how this impacts PvE. I just want to say that I don't know how it impacts that perspective, but 200% fortify cap on my specific type of build is crazy. Like, it's wild in PvP. It is so much mitigation, and I'm nowhere close to it. If I was running in a comped group where other people were providing me fortify, good God, man, like, holy crap, that's crazy. And so to have all that survival and then to not get a damage boost by going to medium or go to light armor, what's the point? And so I look at it like this. My overall Cliff's Notes is this. Heavy armor's fun. Heavy armor plays like Bowser, right? We're just going to keep hammering home this analogy. Medium armor does not feel fun. Medium armor is not enjoyable. Light armor brawler is not enjoyable. And so I would make adjustments to make those playstyles more enjoyable and more fun before I would make a huge adjustments to heavy. I'm not saying making adjustments bad or anything like that. Obviously, heavy armor adjustments do need to be made, but the other adjustments need to be made as well. When you're making choices, you shouldn't be making choices of, well, this weight load is bad, this weight load is bad, this is the only one that's good. You want them all to be good for different reasons. And I think the biggest issue is the disparity in the choices that you're making right now aren't very good. And so that's what I would say. I would say overall, I would make smaller, more incremental adjustments. I would make medium actually provide 10% more damage, or maybe 15%. I would make light armor, melee, provide 15 to 25% more damage than heavy. So that way, when you do make that choice and you do decide, hey, I'm foregoing, instead of having 3,000 physical resists, I'm only going to have 1,200, but I hit like a freaking truck. You now actually hit like a truck, and you can make those overall choices. So I think that's a much better way to look at it. I think that's a much better way to go about adjusting things. But that's my perspective. That's my perspective. Personally, I just don't think that this change is going to accomplish what they want it to accomplish. And I hope they look at making an adjustment that would balance things a little bit better. And yeah, I think fortify caps the way to go, or base resistances, either way. But yeah, that's my perspective. If you guys have any questions or comments or adjustments yourself, let me know what you think. If you like the dodge change, if you do think the dodge change is going to make a substantial difference, let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear it from you. But I'm going to end the video here. I've blabbered on long enough. I've talked about Mario Kart enough. Have a good new year, guys, and take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.